All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome to day three of Root to Rise 2025, Sacred Purpose and Visioning Activation. I am so stoked to be here with you. You all are amazing. I feel like I'm not alone here, right? Like I feel the torch within you with me, and that means a lot to me. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Today, we have a very exciting day. We are building upon all of the days to get to here right now, just like in life, right? Today, we are going to be talking about sacred visioning and embodying your higher self. I am so excited. So, I felt it was important to make this the third day. I know there's a lot of visioning workshops around the new year, but I was really called to share this practice of the 3 day because I feel like it's so important to move through resistance and look at fear and honor ourselves before we're like, okay, what do you want for the new year? What's your future self, calling you to, and all this. It's like, whoa, let's slow down. Let's slow down. So I really appreciate you all being here. And for those of you watching the replay or listening, I'm just like, hats off, congratulations for making this space for yourself. And if you've only been able to catch one of the days, totally fine. So great to have you here. And if you're interested, I highly suggest doing the full 3 days. So, yesterday, as you all know, we spoke to resistance and shed resistance with calling on the and that energy that is there to protect us. And I also shared a little bit about my group program, which I'll be sharing a little bit more about it again today. I hope that's okay with y'all. And I'll be offering a really exciting free gift today. And speaking of gifts, I am so excited to announce the winner from yesterday. And she just rolled in. I'm so stoked. Ame! Woo! Cheers! Thank you for your amazing posts in the Sacred Soul Alignment Sanctuary. That was so beautiful to read Soul Alignment Sanctuary. It was so beautiful to read your posts and read how much you were cheering other people on. And I really felt you in there, and you commented on not only 2 of the other folks, but 3, and really with heartfelt reflections. So congratulations. I will be sending you one of my favorite things, honestly, in life. I love this deck. I know some of you know it. It's the Rumi deck by Alana Fairchild. The art is by this incredible artist named Rizzoli. So inspiring. If you haven't seen this deck, please check it out. It's the Rumi deck Oracle. So yay, Ame! I'll catch your details later so I can send that to you. All right. So today, visioning activation and sacred action. So I'll be sharing a little story with you about why I love visioning. It's a fun story. I've never actually told this story, so I hope it flows well. I'll just be totally vulnerably honest. But it's real, it's true for me, and it feels right to tell. So we'll also be calling on the wood snake again to really hit that home, to really understand the essence of the wood snake for this year and the present moment. And we'll revisit alignment and values for your higher self to really work with the neural pathways with that, right? We'll be doing some cognitive understanding of your values again, and then we'll flow into some visioning for your higher self. And we'll go deeper with embodying that energy that you feel. Oh, it's so juicy. I love this practice, and this practice has personally really changed my life. So for the better. and it's just really fun. So let's see. And as mentioned, yes, I'll be sharing a little bit more about Sacred Soul Alignment Group Program. Just, nothing too long or anything, but I just wanted to mention it again, especially for the folks who haven't been able to show up yesterday. Okay, so a little bit about me. As you all know, my name is Jen Gens. I am an empowerment and purpose clarity coach, spiritual guide. I have a degree from Boston College. I have a postback in psychology, and I'm kind of a junkie on studying habit change and space holding. It's pretty ridiculous, but I just love it. I love this masterpiece, this art. And I love describing my work as where the science meets woo. By the way, there's 2 eagles flying outside of my window right now. So there you have it. Yes, love that. So yeah, where science meets the sacred. I feel it so deeply within me. And some of you already know this, but I'm also a ceremonial sound healer and vocalist. And I get pretty witchy with it. I wasn't always that way, but get pretty witchy. And I'm so honored to have been compared to artists like Meilon and Snow Raven and Deodova. Deodova is one of my favorite artists of all time. And I wanted to share a little bit about why. So Deodova, the first time I heard her was in my early 30s. First of all, does anyone know Deodova here? You all, okay, sweet. I'm pretty sure I've been at a show or two with some of the beauties in here, actually. So the first time I saw her play, it was one of my favorite small festivals, and it was profound. I remember feeling her in my bones. I remember feeling like, wow, like receiving her transmission was like coming home. And I remember just feeling that energy like, wow. And I started to feel her as me and me as her. Of course, we're separate beings, but it felt so real. Yes, I will put her in the chat. Deodova. And I ended up meeting her, and she was just lovely in lots of ways. And it felt very resonant for me. I've been singing my whole life. I remember singing like when I was like 4. And it's always been my medicine. But in full honesty, for like half of my life, it's really been through behind closed doors. I was really afraid of other people's judgments, and I just didn't feel safe to be me. I felt really lost and ungrounded for a number of reasons, including our culture, cultural conditioning, the school system, and a series of traumas, one of which I mentioned yesterday in day 2 about my witch wound. So I was hiding, and I was definitely hiding my deeper dreams and what I felt within my body. And I remember always asking outside of myself for direction and really being afraid of comparison. And I felt like I had to prove something. I don't know if this relates to any of you or if you feel that, but if you do, yeah, I see you. So my voice was so precious. I didn't want it to be taken away from me, and I silenced it. I kept it safe, and I was scared that if I let it out, that I wouldn't live up to other people's expectations. And this came out in my relationships. Instead of speaking up for my needs, I kept quiet. And as mentioned in day 1, my story about my mountain biking incident and my mom, I pushed past my body's intuition, trying to prove myself to a then boyfriend that I couldn't keep up with, honestly, because he was a pro mountain biker. And I ended up in the hospital. I had 13 broken bones, uh, C7, T1 through 5, and L1, meaning my spine, my neck, 5 ribs, my clavicle is a steel plate. And one of the worst parts about it all was that I had a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, that damaged my temporal lobe, affecting my memory of language. I literally forgot the word shoe. Like I had to relearn everything. And once I heard words, they would come back to me. But I lost my ability to sing, and I mean, maybe it was there, but it just felt so disconnected, and it was devastating and very disorienting. So, this was my medicine, and I felt disconnected from that. So I had to see a speech pathologist for quite a while, and it helped. But really, what helped the most was dedicating myself to deeper meditation practices. And in that process, my spirituality, my spiritual practices really deepened. And I started to embody these visioning techniques. As I did that, I felt myself heal not only in my body and my mind, and my soul, really, but in my voice too, which was amazing and huge for me. And I started to vision my voice not as something outside of me, like I was singing like Deodova, but it was me and myself. And I incorporated this, along with the practices that I've shared, some of which I've shared with you in this weekend, of really healing the unworthiness wound, and incorporated that coaching and therapy and shadow work into the visioning. And that changed everything. I began to have a much deeper sense of God and the universe and that interconnection, and really visioning with my higher self. It just got more palpable. And I literally started to vision myself and envision myself singing and doing different sound healings at yoga studios and things like that. And it worked. It worked. I started playing weekly gigs. It's funny to call it that because they're like spiritual sound healings, but I started to play out, right? I was gaining confidence in myself. And as mentioned in day one, when my mom transitioned, it was like a whole nother level of understanding my human self as a soul, right? Where souls having a human experience. So when she passed, I decided to go on a big adventure around the world. I found myself at Envision with my bestie, and Envision is a festival in Costa Rica, and Deodova was playing. It was one of the big reasons why I wanted to be there. And I remember her coming out, and it was like, oh my gosh, yes, Sister Queen, love her. And this dancer came out with these huge golden wings. I mean, like huge, huge. And she was so powerful and embodied, and just like divine goddess priestess. And I remember just like looking at these wings and being like, yes. And I remember speaking out loud to my bestie in that moment and saying, I'm going to wear those wings. I want them. And I felt them on me. So that was February. In March, I found myself in Cuba, and I spoke to a friend of mine there, and she mentions this women's empowerment leadership training that she did. And I was like, oh, cool. I want to do that. Yeah, I want to know more about that. So I reached out to the woman who was leading the training, and I told her, hey, I feel like I'm supposed to learn from you, and I don't have much money anymore because I've been traveling the world. But I'm a sound healer, and I would love to offer my sound healing at one of your retreats. She said yes, that she had just gotten a set of bowls and that we would do a partial exchange. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to become an international sound healer. This is so cool. So a couple months later, I show back up in Costa Rica. When I arrived, I got into her studio and I was floored. There they were, these giant golden wings sitting in her studio. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I didn't say anything at the moment, but I was like, I could feel them on my body. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But I didn't want to push it. I wanted to be respectful. These are like these, gold wings that are, I mean, like I said, huge. Like, I don't even know, 10-foot wingspan, maybe more. So I waited for until the retreat was over. It's like 10 days. And I was actually teaching her some sound healing techniques and vocal techniques. And I mentioned that I'd seen her on the Envision stage with Deadova. And she asked me if I wanted to put the wings on. I was like, oh my God, this is wild. It's happening. What's even just more incredible to me is that within 2 years, a close friend of mine threw a festival at the same location that I had first seen Deadova and asked me to perform a sound healing channeling for her on the main stage. I was like, what? Wow, of course, right? Of course. Now I don't question it as much. Now it's just like, oh yeah, this is happening. And what's distinct is I'm not acting or projecting as someone else. I'm envisioning it as myself. I'm envisioning as myself and root into trust and practice these shadow techniques for our own worthiness, which we spent 2 days building upon. We start to really tap into the ally of our compassionate hearts, our ancestors, if we choose to call them in, and our higher self. So I'm so excited to share with you some of these techniques and support you so that we may root to rise. So how does that sound? Yeah, sweet. Okay. All right. So as we have been speaking to, the wood snake comes up in several traditions. There's a lot of ancient knowledge and spiritual wisdom with the snake. And one of those is in the Kundalini and yogic tradition, where the snake is at the base of the spine. And as it awakens, it rises up the spine to create this unlocking of primal creative force and Shakti. So with Kundalini and this practice, it's really important, and I just want to stress this, to root before we rise. So we're going to do a short rooting practice before we go into the visioning. And before we do that, I want to guide you on some journaling questions. And we'll revisit some of what we did in the first day. But it's really to go deeper into what alignment actually even means. It's one thing to be like, oh, yeah, just envision your higher self. And for some of us, that's not as easy because we don't necessarily know what that might even feel like. So I wanted to talk about what the full body yes is. To me, that's alignment. It's this energy of little resistance. That's excitement versus fear that we talked a little bit about yesterday. And it's this feeling of giving you energy rather than draining you. Some things can be tiring that are aligned with our higher self, like speaking our truth and having hard conversations and communicating honestly and effectively. But that is a good tired. It's like, wow, I freaking did that. And I'm humbled and proud of myself rather than defeated and tired. So I just wanted to make a little tab on that, right? Like sometimes it's not always just juicy and enlivening. Sometimes we have to show up in responsibility. But for the point of this exercise, I wanted to help us tap into more of that place that just no brainer gives you energy. Does that make sense? So I'll ask you a few questions and I want you to actually grab your journal if you don't already have it. And yeah, I'll just ask you, starting off first, with what experience just naturally energizes you? Like, what experiences naturally energize you? Maybe that's like dancing or drinking your morning coffee, or I guess coffee has caffeine, but what experiences naturally energize you? And along with that question, what else just feels like a full body yes? It's like no brainer. For instance, listening to the birds is one of mine. Watching sunsets. What's just an obvious no brainer for you? And I wanted to revisit a few of the questions that we uh, did some inquiry on the first day. Pop these into the chat. When did you feel most alive and aligned this year? And let it just be bullet points for right now, especially since we've already done this in day one. What activities bring you consistent joy? You might be repeating, that's okay. Just brainstorming here. And what core values guide your most aligned choices? What have you noticed in these 3 days in terms of your values? What core values guide your most aligned choices? How are you feeling called to serve? How do you want to show up? How are you feeling called to serve? Let it be bullet points. What does your heart dream of? What does your heart dream of? And what message do you want to shout from the mountaintops? If you were on top of a mountain, no one was around you, or maybe you had an audience, and you could hear your own echo, what do you just want to like shout into the cavernous echo of space so that you can hear it come back to you? What message do you want everyone to hear? If there were no judgments. All right, beautiful. So I know some of that was a little quick. One reason because I want to kind of stay on track of time, but also because I want us to get out of our head. Oftentimes when we have too much time to like really think about it, it kind of loses the embodiment of it. Although we want to allow some cognition and cognitive energy here too. So for this next piece, I want you to grab your candle. Hopefully it's close by, as we will be keeping it sacred, as I like to say. And we'll be starting with a short grounding practice, and then we'll be going into a future self meditation, higher self meditation. I will be asking you some questions in the meditation, but we'll have time to journal afterwards. The questions I'll be asking you in the meditation will be quick, And I want you to just let that first snap instinct, that first intuitive hit to come through and not question it. Don't worry about thinking too much. I know that's a big ask to not worry, but don't worry, we will have time to journal afterwards. Okay. How's that sound? All good? Yeah, awesome. Okay. All right. So go ahead and if you have the candle in your palm, light that candle. And take a moment to look at the flame again, calling on that energy of the north that we called in the first day, of responsibility, of fire in the darkness, and the ability to illuminate. This practice is about illuminating that light within you, knowing that you're creating a sacred honoring with this practice for your deepest desires in the present moment. When you're ready, go ahead and put that candle down. Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Feel your pelvis sinking a little deeper into the seat. Finding your pelvis, take a deep breath and let that go as you feel the weight sinking even deeper, relaxing into yourself, supported by the ground. And tuning in to your root from the tailbone, letting it go through the seat, through the foundation of the house, meeting the earth, going deeper and feeling the water table. Deeper, you find the crystal and the rock, going deeper, feeling the warmth of magma, going deeper and deeper and deeper. Feeling the core of the earth, the heart of Gaia, Earth Mother, and allowing your grounding cord to connect with her heart, letting that root wrap around and hook into her heart like a vein. Nice deep breath. And releasing, letting anything go that you feel is stuck energy, allowing that to go down the grounding cord and composting with the earth, knowing that she is here to support us. Another deep breath, filling all the way up and relaxing, letting it go down the grounding cord, feeling her support beneath you. Feeling her support and grounded love start to rise up that root as if you're sucking up a straw, letting that energy of compassionate ancestral wisdom rise up your cord, your root, that vein, into your tailbone, filling up the pelvis, filling up the legs, the knees, the feet, and the toes. Coming back to awareness of your pelvis, letting that rise into your gut and your energetic womb and womb space. Letting that rise to your belly button and up the spine, rising into the heart, the lungs, the chest, feeling the wings of your back body going down the arms and into your hands, the extension of your heart in your palms. Bringing that awareness back into your heart, rising to the collarbones, up the neck, into the jaw and mouth, rising up the spinal cord, into the middle of your face, into your brain, and to the crown of the head. And calling on the spirits of the highest truth and compassion here now into our space, and feeling that within you, your spirit of the highest truth and compassion. What do they look like? For you to see this for yourself. What does your higher self look like? Notice the clothing or lack of clothing. Notice any color. And feel these qualities on your body. Feel the material or the elements. How do they carry themselves? What energy is radiating from them? What qualities just naturally flow through them? I invite you to feel this energy within you now. How do they move through the world? And what are they called to express? And how do they want to express that? What activities? What do they sound like? How are they serving the world? How do others feel in their presence? How do others feel in your presence, embodying this version of you? What wisdom do you feel you're naturally embodying? I want you to feel that energy. Feel that radiance emanating out. What do you know to be true? What values does this version of you want to live by? Feel this part within you. I give you permission. Allow yourself this space to really feel it in the space in between the cells of your very being. You have permission in this very moment. Now ask this version of you, your higher self, from your highest wisdom, what do you want for me in my life? What do you want for me? For all the other parts of me? How will I know or feel your wisdom in my body? What do I need to do to align with you? What do I need to do to align with you more? What practice will help me stay connected to you more frequently? What is my medicine? What is my medicine? Another few deep breaths here. Allowing yourself to take in this wisdom. And I invite you to find your journal and start to bullet point anything that you noticed. I will be revisiting some of the questions. What did you notice about the physical appearance, the energetic qualities, the service that came through, and the core truth? Anything, let this be a free write of anything that you really deeply noticed. And now I'll give you a few minutes, a couple minutes, on this next question. From your highest wisdom, what do you want from me? When I asked that, what came through? From your higher self's highest wisdom, what do you want for the other parts of you? Me meaning all of me, the other parts that need love, all of you. How will I know or feel your wisdom in my body? How will I know? What would that feel like? And what am I ready to embody from the highest wisdom within you? What are you really ready to embody? And if ready feels too soon, maybe it's deeply desired to. What do you deeply desire to embody? And what do I need to do to align with you? From the divine wisdom of your higher self, what do the rest of the parts of you need to align with your higher self? What do you really need? And what practices will help me stay connected to you, higher self? What practices will help me stay connected to you? Okay, now putting that wisdom into action, what do you know One step that you could take to implement this vision and this wisdom? What's one step that you can take? One next step that you can take to implement this wisdom? And how will you know if you're on the right path? How will you know deeply, intuitively, within you, in your body, in your soul? How will you know if you're on the right path? Bring curiosity to this one. You don't need to get it right or perfect. But if you were to just explore some possibilities, how would you know if you're on the right path? And what support do you know you need to make this real? In the physical form, spiritual, and metaphysical, whatever way you want to answer that. Just another minute for that one. 30 seconds. And when you're ready to put your pen down, you still have a little more time if you want. I want to invite you to take a deep breath and close the eyes for a moment. Place your hands on wherever your body really feels it wants to be acknowledged. Maybe that's your heart or your voice or your solar plexus or your gut or your belly. And take 3 of your own deep breaths with an audible exhale out. Reconnecting to your grounding cord deep within the core of the earth. Allowing yourself to feel that connection, your roots, your foundation. As you bring awareness back up into the body and up your spine, as if you're creating an antenna rooted deeply within the earth. And let all of this wisdom percolate into your cells and the spaces in between. Give yourself that permission, give yourself that space. And if it feels comfortable or safe or brave, I want you to repeat after me. I'm listening. I'm willing to listen. It doesn't have to look perfect, but I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to give myself permission to listen. Thank you. Thank you, higher self, for showing me your wisdom. I'm listening and I'm practicing deep listening. And when you're ready, starting to flutter the eyes open. And we have time for a few shares. And as you know, this really cultivates the space, lets yourself be heard. What did you notice about your higher self? Anything that wants to be shared and spoken into the circle? Would love to hear from you. No one? Oh,
I'll share.
wonderful. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, how are you? um,
Great.
I um was like wearing all white, like this beautiful white flowy dress, and sort of glowing. I kept thinking about the scene from Shrek, if you've ever seen it, of like when at the end Fiona is like radiating all these light beams, um, and
Cool.
just like abundant love and honest, genuine energy
Mm.
and unapologetically, it was really beautiful.
Mm. Ah, I love that.
Me
Yes, I feel that for you. I feel that. I feel that
too.
radiance emanating
Thank
out.
you.
It makes me feel like I need to rewatch Shrek. It's been a long time.
Me too. I just kept going back to it. She's like up in the air and like light is just coming off of her. Cool.
Wow, that's amazing. That's actually very relatable for me in some of my visions of my own higher self. So now it makes me want to go
Yeah.
back. But I'm curious if you noticed any actionable steps that were being spoken through you that you want to take in order to align more with that higher self. Maybe we call her Fiona. No.
Yeah. Yes, I wrote down a lot of things. What is the next steps? Um, my first was set up the voice unlock workshop with Jen next week.
Hey, VIP.
Yes. Go down my checklist I made yesterday and get groceries tonight or tomorrow.
Nice.
Those are very um more logistical, but
Yeah.
she just kept saying like you you know you are in the right path, you are doing this, keep going, keep going, keep going, and keep telling yourself and reminding yourself every day you know what to do.
Uh, I love that. I'm so glad you shared that. Reminding
Thank you.
ourselves every day.
Yeah,
Such a good practice.
continually.
Yeah. Would it be okay to give
Yeah,
you a little idea? And this goes for
please.
everyone. For that, some of that divine wisdom, I want to invite you to write it on a sticky note or an index
Yeah,
card. You might have already done this with me before, but I want to invite all of you, whatever little tidbit, whatever gem, maybe it's remember every day. I want
every
you
day.
to tape that above your bed. So it's the first thing you see when you wake up, and it's the last thing you read when you go to bed.
Yeah,
Thank you
perfect.
so much for sharing, Maddie. It's so good to see you.
Thank you
And
for listening.
what Maddie was referring to earlier too is I offer VIP sessions, and we're going to do an incredible ceremony around unlocking vocal cords because Maddie is an incredible vocalist. So
Thank
excited about your upcoming career. This is so exciting. Woo! 2025. Thank you, Maddie.
you. Love you.
Love you too. We've got time for one more share if anyone wants to speak out into the group at all. Carissa, I see you raising your hand. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I hate speaking, but I'm gonna do it because I'm called to do
Yay, Carissa.
it.
Way to
So
be brave.
I know I'm like, okay, all right, I'm listening. I often think back to Katie Bell's dad's. She had like a celebration of life, and like I wouldn't get up and sing karaoke, and I wanted to so bad, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like I look back at that, I'm like, that would have been so fun, and you love all of these people. What? Why are you so scared of these things? Anyway. I saw my higher self. I went back to when I was 13 and I had this incredible experience with connecting to God, like really connecting to God at a young age and then feeling it in every cell of my body for the rest of my life. And I've always been seeking those experiences. And like I calculated it, it was 30 years ago. And I think 30 feels really auspicious and like it's time to recreate that container for people to find the connection that I found. And it's really important for me right now to keep connecting. Like you said, put the sticky note up, and I looked like right above my kitchen sink where I do the dishes. They're like multiplying these little notes. And one was find God every day. Like remember every day to find God. And so what was coming to me, I also saw women in groups, and like I'm like so hesitant because I'm like, oh, it's been done so many times, but we each have our own essence to bring, and I know that, right? But I'm like, oh, I don't want to do another one. But I think it's really important to bring your essence and to circle up. And I've heard so many times, if we had circles across the globe, like we could save the world, like we could change the world, we could do such great things. And I know that I'm being called to do it, and I'm hesitant, and I doubt myself, and I don't know I don't have self-worth, and that's been my biggest like wound to overcome in this lifetime. So anyway, I saw circles, I saw white, I saw ritual, but I saw recreating or giving the people the tools to find that connection to God that I take for granted. I was talking to a friend the
Mm.
other day, and she said to me, I want to go on this retreat so that I can learn what connecting to God feels like. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you don't know what it feels like? It blew my mind how much I take it for granted, and how I can drop in during ritual, and I can drop in my car, and I can, you know what I mean? Like, I can find God because I've strengthened that muscle, and I've sought, and I've looked over the years how I can make this more attainable for me. And I need to be helping other people do the same thing. So that's what I found.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Carissa. Thank you for being brave, for sharing, for speaking this wisdom of your higher self, of ancient wisdom. I feel your ancestors in this. Speaking to the circle. It is brave work, sister. And I'm so grateful that you are willing to teach others by showing what it is that you carry, right? Illuminating, carrying the torch. I need you. I need you. We need you. We need you. I can't do this alone. We can't do this alone. And it's a common belief, right? Like, oh, other people are doing it. We don't really need it. It's fine. Do you know how many New Year's workshops are out there? It's just like, but I asked God, how can I be of service? And it kept showing me. The truth is we need your medicine more than ever. And
Thank
that
you.
goes for, yes.
And thank you for creating this group. I just want to say, like, just these people, this energy, it's like, it's a reminder, it's a remembrance that we are circling, we are seeking, and there are like-minded people out here that need this, and we need to be doing more of it and taking the time to do it. And so I really appreciate this energy of this container. So thank you so much. I stumbled upon this through Katie Bell, and I'm so grateful, and the mysterious magic of the universe. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Carissa. Uh, it's yeah, such a beautiful share. I'm really proud of you as well to get to speak that out. And just recognizing too that who currently there are female identified in the circle. And I know, oh, and we've got one man in the back there. Hey. Hi. And just wanting to speak to the power of circling and speaking to the reality that women haven't always been allowed. That wasn't that long ago. And that actually women circling was a, um, a permissible by death. It's pretty wild. And it's so beautiful now. It's like, okay, let's dismantle patriarchy. Got it. Okay, check. Like, what does that even mean? it reminds me of, what we were talking about in the Facebook group with Kelly about like, what does success mean? And even some of the questions I asked today. But now it's like, okay, and where are our brothers at? Where are the non-binaries at? Like, it's not about woman or man anymore, of course. It's about like, how can we all come together, learn from each other, balance the paradigm of poles between sacred feminine and masculine, and every space in between, we are all connected. And the truth is yes, it has been done before bravely, and we do need all of you. Carissa, Katie Bell, Ame, Dr. Kelsey, Courtney, Dr. Liz, Lynn, Shelby, Maddie, right? Whatever it is. And that's why I think this whole practice is so important, to really understand what's holding us back so that we can rise up together. I was a little hesitant to create a Facebook group because, Facebook. However, I recognized it as a place where we can all get in there and love each other up and cheer each other on. That's why I asked you in our practice of action steps to post it in there and then comment on each other. Oh my gosh, how good does it feel to hear reflections back, right? So we can do it in little ways, even with sacred technology, which I believe will reach farther out into the world. I know we've got some beautiful folks coming in from all around the world on this particular workshop that can't be with us here live because it's like 4 a.m. in Bali and Thailand and Taiwan. So just giving another shout out to Sacred Technology for really allowing us to all come together bi-coastally and worldly right now. So, okay. So speaking to that and creating a sacred intimate container, I mentioned this yesterday, and I know you've already heard this, but for some of you who didn't get to hear this yesterday, I wanted to mention that I'm offering a group program called Sacred Soul Alignment. And it's been an art piece for me over years now. And I haven't been ready to offer a group program until now, especially now, because I feel like the world needs us more than ever. And I'm dedicated to helping us love up on our resistance in a revolutionary way to really be able to step out into the light and carry that torch for others. So it's a 10-month journey for heart-centered creatives who are feeling called to something greater, who want to clarify more of their purpose. And if you already know your purpose and your divine intuitive wisdom, it's really to cultivate that confidence for you to transform this HSP, high sensory perception, highly sensitive person, all that sensitivity, to transform that into power, transform that into recognition of your sacred divine gifts. I believe that we can all be these sensitive beings, but a lot of times, if not all the time, it gets conditioned and we start to shut down. So this program is really about deconditioning and unbecoming as much as it is about becoming, and allowing us to be a role model just simply by being. It's not about achieving a certain goal, although there, of course, we will set goals along the way. This is really about cultivating that confidence within ourselves to create that space to feel our higher self and to continue to have accountability practices to keep going and keep practicing, not to get it perfect, but to keep aligning. We'll also be cultivating more authentic relationships and understanding different ways to do that. I believe that relationships are our greatest mirrors. And in that mirroring, we get to practice. We get to practice ownership. We get to practice responsibility. And we get to practice cultivating sacred boundaries. But I believe it is such a big part of understanding our purpose. Our purpose goes beyond what it is that we're here to do in the world, although that is so important, right? Establishing or finding a place that we really feel belonging in our career or the work that we're doing in service and creating an impact. I believe that is so necessary and important. But purpose goes beyond just that. Purpose has to do more, I believe, with what the evolution of your soul is craving in this particular lifetime, in this event that is your human body. For me, I recognize that my purpose is not just to be a channeler and a sound healer and a coach. Maybe there's something to be said about carrying the torch so that I can inspire others to light their own. But my purpose, I've realized over the years through all my trials and tribulations, which it's been a wild ride, my purpose is about teaching forgiveness and compassion. Not always easy, but I'm here for it because I believe that's my purpose. So I'd love to guide any of you or anyone that you feel would be really called to this 10-month container in a more intimate group. Feel free to share about this container. I'm currently offering a lowest price ever, it will ever be, super early bird price of $397 a month. And that goes until the 7th, which is Tuesday. And if you have friends or anyone that you know that this might really speak to or want to know more about it, I would love to offer you a free 30-minute clarity breakthrough session. And we will clarify your vision and identify what might be holding you back and just see if the container is right for you or for anyone that you know if you would like to share. Maddie says, can we post about it to spread the word? Absolutely. Here is the link to the Sacred Soul Alignment webpage, and you can find out more details there. As mentioned yesterday, there are 5 phases over the course of 10 months. And of course, one of those phases we will be spending on visioning and really aligning with your higher self. Interwoven throughout the program, but we'll really be doing that, stepping into your highest wisdom and vision in the last phase as well. So we'll be doing these different steps to lead up to those moments of really fully embodying it as best we can. No myth of perfection here. So I'll hold on afterwards if you have any questions or want to know more, happy to share. And let me know if you have any questions about what it is. Maybe it's not about the group. Feel free to still get one of those clarity breakthrough sessions. Happy to share my wisdom with you and hold you in that space. They're really incredible containers. All right. So to close, I know we're just coming up to 90 minutes. So I understand if you have to run, but I would love to invite you just to close for another 5 minutes or so if you're willing to. So today we went pretty deep. And as mentioned, I'd love to invite you to write something down on an index card or a sticky note, something that really stood out today. Tape that above your bed. And I want to invite you to take a picture of that from your from the perspective of laying in your bed and seeing that. Maybe you need to zoom in a little bit so we can read it, but just an invitation for that. Second invitation is I'd love for you to do some type of piece of creative artwork expressing your higher self. Now, I know we have a lot of artists in the room. So if that is an art piece, I would love to see what your vision of your higher self is in the form of art, hopefully in color, and post that in the Facebook group as well. If you are like, I don't have watercolors, I don't know how to do that, you can post a song of you singing or a 2-minute dance. I don't want these to be too long, but something around 2 minutes sounds great. So a picture of your affirmation and a piece of art that you'd like to share. Post that in the Facebook group and comment on 3 posts, 2 to 3. And I want to enter you into a winning of a 1-hour full session with me, where we get to talk about your vision for the year, if that's what you want to talk about, or a guidance session, or any resistance pieces. It's really about what you want to work on, and we'll meet you right where you're at. But you will get a free 1-hour session with me. This is a $297 value. So please, please take what is given. I hope you receive. But all you have to do is post in the Facebook group. So I will announce the winner on Monday evening. I hope that's enough time. Does that feel like enough time for everyone to post? And maybe that's a song. I know this is a brave act for a lot of people. Okay, it sounds like Monday evening is reasonable. I'm getting some head nods. Awesome. All right. And really just so grateful. So grateful and honored to have your trust and your presence here in this container, in this circle with us. I am just beyond grateful that you would trust me to guide you and in this present moment, but also for your new year, our new year. Because again, I believe we all deserve this medicine and this foundational piece to really set us up for alignment. Day 1, we did that rooting and that foundational piece, called in the ancestors and the directions and the wood snake. Day 2, we activated inner power and transformed resistance. And today, setting us up for those activations in our vision. I want to just take a moment to thank the ancestors for being with us in these 3 days, especially that first day. You may be released if you are still present, knowing that we can call on you at any moment. Thanking the spirits of the highest truth and compassion, knowing that we can call on you on any moment. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to any allies, to the directions and the direction of the heart, for bravely knowing that our heart is our inner compass. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for guiding. Thank you to the essence and energy of the wood snake, which we will see in the Chinese zodiac around the 29th, I believe, is the new moon. Thank you, energy of the wood snake, for showing us rooted expansion and growth transformation in our creative expression, in our community, our relational building, and within ourself to align with our personal development. Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. It's been such an honor. Feel free to share the recordings and I'll hang on for a few more minutes. And if you're dancing today, I know it's Sacred Sunday, have so much fun. You still have time to get there. And if you aren't headed to dance church of any sort, I hope you get a dance in today nonetheless. Happy New Year!